They stole my $1 million idea, so I got them fired and took their boss's job. The conference room door swings open, and there's my deck on the big screen, minus my name, plus Liam's hair gel. He whispers, "We'll keep you technical," like he's promoting me to the basement. Dana, our VP, flashes a smile so polished you could butter toast with it and starts pitching my model. Stakes, patent window closing, promo shortlist dangling, and my bonus is the only thing keeping my mortgage calm and my mom's meds paid. I start recording. My auto-forward rules are primed like little digital raccoons. Dana smirks like I'm harmless. I smile back like a loaded spreadsheet. Track record and vanishing credit. Let me set the scene. I'm the quiet engineer who ships wins. I'm also the guy who claps alone at his own launch party because everyone else is off practicing acceptance speeches for my work. It's cool. I keep receipts the way grandmas keep coupons. Color-coded, time-stamped, backed up in 3 clouds like I'm anticipating the apocalypse of honesty. The idea they're stealing today? A modular pricing engine that doesn't just price, it keeps customers around by predicting when they'll ghost and bribing them before they do. Retention math, safeguard concept, elegant enough to make a CFO blush. Boring to most people, $1 million heartbeat to the company. Also, to me. My vesting cliff is in sight. My bonus covers my mom's medication, and I'd like to keep my apartment from becoming a museum exhibit titled Guy Who Almost Made It. Cast roll call. Liam, our product manager, is charming in the way waiters memorize your order and then serve it to the table next to you. Dana, our VP, is polished, sharp, and allergic to silence, especially if it's credit she could be speaking over. And me? I'm the male narrator with the keyboard and the patience of a librarian whose favorite book keeps getting borrowed forever. First, tell something was off. A strategy sync invite appears without me. It's like throwing a surprise party and forgetting the birthday person. I do a polite hallway drive-by. "Hey, did I miss a thing?" Liam goes, "Oh man, small group. You're crucial. Later." Translation. "Please stay in your kennel while we redecorate with your stuff." I decide not to bark. I document. Look, I'm not naive. Corporate credit is a relay race where the baton is your name, and someone always tries to swap it for theirs mid-stride. But I built this engine from scratch, in ugly hoodies and prettier spreadsheets. I've got commit history that reads like a romance. Me and the model, steady, faithful, occasionally spicy when the A/B test hits. I'm not losing the rights to my love story because Liam learned how to abbreviate TLDR. So I start laying the breadcrumbs. Version decks with hidden watermarks. A decoy metric only I would use. Screenshots of Slack threads where I explain the safeguard like I'm reading bedtime stories to insomniac executives. If they try to move my name into witness protection, I'll reintroduce myself to the whole building. My relationship at home? Tessa says I'm 2 heads down. She's in consulting, capital C, so she loves a deck more than me some days. I get it, but my brain is on a treadmill. Vesting, bonus, mom's meds, and a promotion shortlist where I can see the top but the rope is greased. If I get this win, I'm stable. If I don't, I'm a TED Talk titled How to Be Right and Still Lose. When I show the engine to Liam the first time, he actually says, "This is brilliant. We'll win big with this. I'll make sure you're front and center." That was the last time I believed in the tooth fairy of attribution. A week later, my draft turns into his vision, and my face turns into a screensaver. It's not even the money, though. Obviously, it is also the money. It's the principle. Engineers are basically raccoons with ethics. We like shiny things, but we also like rules. You build, you prove, you share credit. If you want soul spotlight, write a novel. I'm here to hold the line between collaboration and pickpocketing in business casual. So I set my phone to record. Automatic forwards point copies of key emails to a vault titled, "If I Get Hit by a Bus or Gaslit." I add a small note to the deck. A watermark tucked behind the chart legend, the pixel value shifting by a prime number sequence. It's petty. It's beautiful. It's science. In the meeting, Dana says, "Our breakthrough leverages modularity to increase lifetime value while reducing churn friction." I nod like a bobblehead with a law degree. Liam clicks through my slides too fast, like they might bite. I catch 2 things. My decoy metric in their demo, and a legal email I'm not on about fast-tracking patent counsel. That's when my eyebrows file a complaint. Here's the thing about being quiet. People assume you're slow. I'm not slow. I'm loading. And when I finish loading, I tend to run. So I keep my smile, keep the camera rolling, and start the slow clap in my head. Not because they deserve applause. Because I'm counting beats. Timing matters. If I swing too early, the room closes ranks. If I wait, they ship a mess without the safeguard, and I ride in like the world's least glamorous superhero. I leave the room calm. My inbox pings. "Great session," Liam writes. "We'll handle comms." My fingers type. "Sounds good." My brain types. "I'm going to need a bigger folder." Inciting incident. Theft in plain sight. 2 hours after the meeting, Liam slides into my cube like a mall kiosk worker with a flat iron. "Yo, can you send me your notes? Just for accuracy," he says, doing that half sit on my desk that makes pins commit suicide. "Sure." I say, because I am polite and plotting. I send a summary that is accurate-ish and includes the decoy metric like a lemon wedge on a glass of Betrayal. 30 minutes later, an all-hands recap hits calendars. It calls the engine their vision. My name appears exactly 0 times. If Erasure had a font, it would be this email. I reply all with a thumbs-up emoji. Pure chaos energy. 5 minutes later, Dana forwards our breakthrough to the ELT with more adjectives than a smoothie menu. I'm not CC'd, which is adorable. It's like stealing my car and then changing the radio to "We are the champions." My hidden watermark shows up in their attached deck, peeking from behind a chart legend like it's in witness protection. It's subtle enough that only I would know, but obvious enough to survive a forensic audit. That watermark is my emotional support llama. Then legal gets looped. I'm not on it. We should fast-track patent counsel, Dana writes, and I can feel the temperature in my face go from simmer to creme brulee. Fast-track, huh? For what? Our innovation? My eyebrows leave the building and file for independent housing. All right, if we're doing crime, we're doing documentation. I flip the switch on my auto-forward rules. Threads with Liam and Dana replicate into a vault folder labeled pumpkins. No one suspects the pumpkins. I set read receipts. I journal the timeline like a petty archaeologist dusting off a fossilized per my last email. Dinner that night? Liam expensed a steakhouse for a client dinner. Fun detail. The client was a mirror because calendar invites don't lie. He and Dana had a work session that ends at 2:06 a.m. At 2:14 a.m., logs show Liam exporting my deck to PDF. He even renamed it Dana Vision Final Final. Nothing says innocence like final in all caps twice. Next morning, I ping him. Hey, do you want me at the follow-up? He sends back. We'll keep this strategic. You focus on the build. Translation. Sit. Stay. Good boy. He tosses me a Jira ticket with a deadline that's shorter than my patience. I pet the ticket like a nervous hamster and keep smiling. In the hallway, Dana stops me with a condescending brand of warmth. We're aligning cross-functionally. So proud of your craft. Craft? Am I a woodworker now? She over-explains the story to me like I was just born and immediately hired. Her teeth sparkle like the concept of plausible deniability. I wander back to my desk, check Slack, and find a DM thread between Liam and a designer that my rules captured. Keep him calm. He's not political. Yes, the classic misread. Quiet doesn't mean clueless. It means I can hear your whispering. Patent counsel sends a meeting invite to Dana and Liam for provisional scope. I stare at my screen, then at my plant. The plant looks concerned. I whisper, "Don't worry, buddy. We file first." I write my own Invention disclosure draft, timestamp it with a third-party notary service, hash it, and store it in 3 places: belt, suspenders, parachute. Meanwhile, they issue a recap email to engineering. We'll demo next sprint. The safeguard? Vanished. That's the piece that keeps the engine from face-planting in production like a toddler sprinting toward a glass door. Without it, the model will jitter, misprice, and cause an outage spicy enough to trend on our internal meme channel. I let the decoy ride. Then the calendar gods deliver dessert. Dana forwards the Our Innovation deck to the CEO's chief of staff with a note about my team's leadership. My watermark waves from behind a bar chart like, "Hi, Mom." I take a breath, attach that email to my growing dossier, and hum the theme from Mission Possible. I book a quick coffee with the veteran architect. He listens, sips, and says, "They're gonna rush. Don't swing early. Let the bug bite them, then show the cure." I nod, pretending I haven't already knitted the Cura sweater. At home, Tessa is heads down with deliverables. Her phone lights up with a text from an unlabeled number. "Leaving Dana's now. Tomorrow?" I hear 1,000 tiny violins tune up and decide to fire the orchestra later. Career first. Feelings can wait in the lobby. By morning, Dana posts a shiny status on the company feed. Proud of the team. Innovation is a team sport. I like the post because I'm petty and social. Then I draft 1 sentence in my notebook. Smile and sharpen. A minute later, my auto-forward pings. Patent counsel replies, "Let's move fast. Ownership to product." My chair doesn't squeak, but if it did, it would scream. I sit up, open a new doc titled Receipts, and start a list. Watermark verified. Decoy metric, present. Export time 2:14 a.m. Email chain excluding author. Patent counsel looped without inventor. I end the list with a line that makes me grin like a raccoon at a picnic. Trap set. Wait. Investigation. Digital breadcrumbs. First thing I do Monday morning is feed my army of tiny nosy robots. Inbox rules, filters, labels, my digital raccoons. Every thread with Liam or Dana gets cloned into a vault folder named after vegetables no one likes. If IT ever audits me, they'll think I'm trying to start a salad bar. I color code the labels like a kindergarten teacher with vengeance. My expense report bot catches a shiny worm, Liam's Steakhouse client dinner from theft night. I click the receipt. 2 entrees, a bottle of something French enough to have silent letters, and a dessert called confession cake. The client is listed as TBD. I love a client name to be determined. Very elusive. I pull the card feed from our finance system and tag it. Then I overlay calendars. Dana and Liam share work sessions like teenagers sharing hoodies, recurring, late night, always labeled something inspiring like Strategy Deep Dive or Crush Q4. My calendar looks like therapy. Theirs looks like a heist schedule. I crack open our Slack export tool, the legal one, calm down, and run a search on phrases I know they'd use. Keep him calm, ship without, tell him later. The capture net pulls a DM where Liam says, "He's not political, he won't escalate." I whisper to my screen, "Buddy, I'm not political, I'm procedural. You're about to meet process." I bookmark it next to a design thread gem. Safeguard adds complexity. Skip for demo. That's like saying parachutes add clutter. Technically true, bad for landings. Security logs time. We've got SSO, device telemetry, the usual Big Brother sweater. I query export events touching my deck hash. There it is. 2:14 a.m., Liam's laptop, PDF export, file name, Dana Vision O Final. If you're tracking at home, that's 3 red flags and a confetti cannon. I screen record the log like it's a baby's first steps and drop the clip into my dossier with a caption, "Look at him go." A legal assistant pings me in that chirpy, neutral way only legal assistants have. Just confirming we're fast-tracking a provisional based on Dana's submission. Need inventor list by EOD. I ask, very casual, "What's the invention title?" She replies, "Modular elastic pricing with adaptive retention safeguards." I stare at the phrase, retention safeguards, like it owes me rent. I say, "Cool, love safeguards." She sends a smiley. That's my micro win. Not a confession, but a breadcrumb dipped in garlic butter. I widen the lens. Finance dashboards are my love language. I filter budget transfers over the last 2 quarters. Dana's unit shows a lively little conga line of funds moving from shared research pools into a sub-project called North Star Acceleration. The memo line says patent prep and demo collateral. Meanwhile, engineering's cost center, which, is where the actual build happens, shows air. It's the corporate version of someone buying a Ferrari with your credit card and then asking you to pay for gas. I ping my friend in finance who survives on black coffee and righteous numbers. She says, "Weird patterns. Who's asking?" I say, "Compliance might. Soon." She sends me a spreadsheet that looks like a smoking gun had a baby with a ledger. Rows of transfers, approvals at odd hours, same 2 approvers. Dana and a director who owes her favors like an ATM owes receipts. I flag the totals and write a sticky note for future me. Money talks, but here it's screaming. Then I do the calendar overlay trick I learned from an ex who was too good at puzzles. I pull Dana and Liam's public events into a grid against system incidents, export logs, and after-hours building access. I'm not stalking, I'm data decorating. There's a neat alignment, work sessions, deck exports, and oh look, a building entry swipe at 1:58 a.m. under Liam's badge. Door camera thumbnails show only shoes, but those are Liam's Yeezys. The man has brand loyalty. I stitch it together in a timeline slide so clean a prosecutor could eat off it. As the door closes behind me, fine, figuratively, I catch a whisper in the bullpen. Demo's Friday. My stomach does a cartwheel, my grin does too. Without the safeguard, their demo is a fireworks show strapped to a gas can. I don't want the company to burn, I just want the arsonists to confess they brought matches, so I prep a fire extinguisher. I build a failover script that detects jitter and routes traffic through my safeguarded path. Quiet, reversible, invisible until needed. Insurance. With a moral compass. I check my phone. Tessa's home screen pops up in my peripheral. Nope, not today. The part of me that wants to ask hard questions is on mute. Focus. I carve a checklist in my notebook like it's a ritual. Email rules live. Slack captures labeled. Expense anomalies tagged. Calendar overlays pinned. Security logs screen captured. Finance patterns archived. Legal assistance provisional smiley starched and saved. I put little boxes next to each one because dopamine is a resource. On my lunch break, the veteran architect swings by, pretends to borrow a charger, actually checks if I'm spiraling. "You gather facts like a librarian gathers shushing power," he says. I say, "I alphabetize the receipts." He chuckles. "Good. When the music stops, don't yell. Press play on the evidence." I nod. My plan isn't to win an argument. My plan is to let the truth narrate and let policy do the yelling. That evening, my vault folder dings. A forwarded thread drops in. Dana to legal, confirm inventor list as product. Engineering contributed execution. Contributed execution. I laugh hard enough to scare my plant. I type a single reply to myself in the dossier. Narrator voice. He contributed the invention. Then I close the laptop, rehearse my breathing, and whisper the punchline to the quiet room. Tick, tock. Investigation 2. Human tells and motives. By Wednesday, the office vibes are a crime scene with plants. Liam's smile is turned up to 11, like his face is trying to sell me a timeshare. Buddy, coffee? He chirps, already holding one out like a peace offering from the country of Theftistan. He never brings me coffee. Last time I asked, he said caffeine was a product decision. Now he's Santa. I take it, sniff it, decaf. Of course, sabotage in a cup. He leans on my cube wall. We're so aligned. You're the engine. I'm the steering. I nod. Cool. Try not to drive us into the ocean. He laughs too hard. Overcompensation. Detected. Dana's tell is different, she over-explains. She corners me by the whiteboard and narrates a story where she names herself 5 times in one sentence. I've been socializing the narrative, how I, as the accountable leader, engaged cross-functional partners to shape the solution I brought forward. I blink. Neat. Did the cross-functional partners have names? She tilts her head. Don't get hung up on credit. We're a family. Yes, the kind of family that labels your leftovers as community property. In the hallway, conversations snap shut when I walk by. It's like I'm a smoke detector with legs. Someone says he'll escalate and then pretends to cough. I drop my pen and a designer dives to pick it up like it's a grenade. I'm fine. I just add hallway hush to my bingo card. QA lead Maya catches me by the snack shelf, holding a granola bar like it owes her child support. Is the safeguard in? She asks, low. I say, in my version. She rolls her eyes so hard they do cardio. They booked a demo Friday without it. That's chaos. And also my weekend. I tell her, I have a net. She exhales. Good. I like not being on fire. Finance friend drops by with a printout, which in our world is basically a stone tablet. Saw your ping, she says. Transfers smell like day-old fish. And this line item, advisor fees. Who's the advisor? I shrug. Probably a mirror, she snorts. Or a friend. She taps a total. If anyone asks, I didn't give you this. But if compliance asks, I did. Hero. Then the veteran architect, as if summoned by sarcasm, sidles up, eyes twinkling like an old wizard who charges by the hour. You look like a man staring at a chessboard. I say, I'm trying to remember how the knight moves. He says, in L shapes, like your enemy's conscience. He lowers his voice. Don't swing early. I nod. I brought a timer. Liam's motives are practically laminated. He wants a fast track to director, and my engine is his rocket fuel. He tells people he's vision first, which is corporate for I babysit ideas until the adults show up. He loves being seen at the center of a circle, preferably a circle of applause. With Dana as his sponsor, he thinks he's bulletproof. He's wearing Teflon and vibes. Dana's motive is legacy. She wants a line on her resume that recruits call back in under 3 rings. Transformed revenue architecture looks great on a LinkedIn banner next to a drone photo of a mountain. She's also got a bored whisperer's disease. Once you've tasted admiration at 30,000 feet, ground-level credit looks sticky. That's why she calls execution plumbing. She's allergic to pipes unless they lead to a podium. My motive? Okay, fine. It's a cocktail. Protect the engine. Secure the bag. Pay my mom's pharmacy. Keep my apartment free of roommates named Regret. And yes, keep my name stapled to my work so I don't disappear like an honest intern. Also, I want to rewire how credit works here so juniors don't have to turn into evidence archivists to get a line in a memo. As I'm rehearsing my internal TED Talk, I catch a small scene. Liam at Dana's glass office, laughing. 2 silhouettes like a screensaver that needs antivirus. They're joined by a director who once told me, engineers shouldn't worry about politics. He now says, we'll position it as product-led. Of course you will. Product loves a parade. I step into the kitchen, and our senior recruiter, who hears more than the CIA, whispers, your name's out of the promotion pool. I smile. Temporary. She studies me. You're not mad? I sip my decaf Betrayal. I'm chronologically patient. Back at my desk, I watch human tells pile up like sticky notes with feelings. Liam's extra cheer, Dana's monologues, the hushes, the rush to demo, the budget drift, the faux family talk. Motives flicker behind them like closed captions. Ambition, proximity, narrative control. Then a tiny moment. A junior dev, Karthik, hovers and says, hey, weird, but thanks for that code review last month. I blink. You remember that? He nods. You didn't take credit. You could have. I feel something unfreeze. That's another motive. Not revenge, balance. The architect pops his head back. You ready? I tap my screen where the timeline sits, color-coded, humming like a loaded spreadsheet. Almost. I want them to think I'm harmless for 36 more hours. He grins. Then what? I smile. Then I stop being decaf. Personal betrayal. The partner connection. Thursday night, I'm reheating leftovers that taste like despair with paprika when Tessa strolls in wearing the I've been productive blazer. She kisses my cheek like a calendar reminder. Long day? She asks. I say, same, and we both lie like we're in sales. Her phone lights up. The preview says, that was electric. Tomorrow? Cinder's initials, DK. I don't know a DK who texts my girlfriend about electricity at 10:58 p.m. I let it go for 13 seconds. Then I do what men with too much data and not enough serotonin do. I open our shared calendar to find a block called Client North Star Strategy, color-coded, Dana's favorite teal. Cute. I click location. It's the same steakhouse Liam expensed on theft night because apparently everyone cheats with ribeye. I scroll photos later, looking for a dopamine hit. I find one, Tessa's late grind selfie in a glass reflection. 2 wine glasses behind her, plus Dana's office door handle photobombing like it wants billing credit. My stomach drops through my shoes, stops to tie them, then keeps falling. I don't confront. Not because I'm noble, because the timing is a landmine field and I'm not trying to lose both legs. I catalog. Text patterns line up with Dana and Liam's work sessions. Venues match the expense logs. Tessa's new handbag appears the same week advisor fees spike. She calls the bag a necessary confidence piece. I call it Exhibit Q. The next morning, she's chirpy. Flying to Austin for a workshop, she says, zipping a suitcase that could smuggle a small piano. I sip coffee. Who's the client? She shrugs. Confidential. I smile. Of course. So is my blood pressure. She laughs, thinking I'm joking. I'm not. I'm auditioning for statue. At lunch, I sit with the veteran architect and practice not flipping the table. Hypothetically, I say, if you learned your partner was consulting for the person stealing your work, what would you do? He chews thoughtfully. I'd take notes. Then I'd build a bridge and walk myself across it. Later. I nod. Later is my favorite word today. I start a separate doc. Personal, encrypted, labeled laundry. Not for revenge, for clarity. I log dates, overlapping dinners, lift receipts to the same hotels, and the moment Tessa started using we when talking about Dana's org. We. The royal we of networking. I'm at my desk writing we equals red flag, like a petty poet. That night, Tessa texts wheels up with D, client, wish me luck. I stare at the dash. My thumbs type luck, because I'm a gentleman with a spreadsheet kink. Then my vault pings, finance flags, advisor travel approved under Dana's unit, vendor name redacted, but the itinerary matches Tessa's exactly, down to the cursed layover. I whisper to my plant, buddy, we're living in a crossover episode. I test my sanity by doing laundry. In the hamper, a receipt for a bar named Volt, which doubles as Dana's unofficial office annex. Signature line, Tessa's flourish, marginalia, pitch landed. I fold the shirt around it like I'm wrapping a crime novel for Christmas. I'm not going to explode. I'm going to simmer like a professional sauce. She calls from Austin at midnight. You sound far away, she says. I smile into the dark. I'm focusing. She sighs. I wish you'd see how big this could be. My brain mishears and supplies. This theft? This us? I say, I do. That's why I'm quiet. She goes soft. You're too principled sometimes. I stare at the ceiling. Yeah, it's a chronic condition. Friday morning, Dana posts a selfie with a caption, Leaders build leaders. In the corner of the frame, Tessa's blazer sleeve makes a cameo like a co-star who didn't sign the release. I save it to the folder called Cloudy with a chance of irony. Micro story. I pass Liam in the lobby and he winks. Big day. I say, huge. He adds, your girl's killing it, by the way. I stop. My girl? He freezes. I mean, Tessa. She's sharp. I nod. Yeah. Cuts right through. Back at my desk, Maya drops a sticky note. Demo still missing safeguard. Where asbestos? I thumbs up. Then my phone buzzes. Tessa again. A photo of a whiteboard with my retention math scrawled across it like it's auditioning for Broadway. Caption. We're building a better story. I hold the phone like it might bite. This is the moment in a heist movie where the protagonist either goes feral or goes surgical. I choose surgical. I prioritize the career case. I park the personal in long-term storage next to the treadmill I pretend I'll use. I draft a breakup text and notes, then move it into the vault like an artifact. Not today. Today, I need steady hands. Lunch runs late. The architect slides into the chair opposite me. You good? He asks. I nod. I've been better, but I've also been stupider. He grins.
That's growth. I say, I'm gonna let the demo fall on their faces, catch it with my fix, then deliver the receipts to the COO with a bow. After that, I'll handle laundry. He
raises an eyebrow. Laundry? I tap my temple. Closets need cleaning. Tessa's last message before the demo says, proud of you. Don't overreact to politics. I type, delete, type again, settle on, thanks. It's the truth and a placeholder. My jaw unclenches as I remember the order of operations. Stabilize the company, ruin the thieves, give my heart a quiet exit with dignity and documented parking validation. When the elevator doors close on the way to the demo, I see my reflection. I look like a guy who knows the house is on fire and still sets the table. I adjust my collar. Career first, I whisper. Personal later. The doors open. I walk out carrying two things you can't put in a backpack: patience and proof. And I plan to spend both like they expire at midnight. First countermove, quiet ownership claims. I start my morning by doing the nerdiest power move imaginable. I open a fresh doc titled Invention Disclosure and treat it like a love letter to future litigation. I describe the problem, the math, the safeguard, the prototypes, the A/B wins, the false starts where I swore at a spreadsheet and it swore back. I paste commit hashes like they're baby photos. Then I march it through a third-party timestamp service that notarizes more politely than my grandmother. Immutable hash, generated, copies, 3, with one labeled, for when people pretend amnesia is a strategy. Next, I ping internal counsel, quietly, not the Dana-aligned crew. I attach the disclosure draft and ask a boring question in the most boring tone. Confirm correct inventor designation workflow? The trick is sounding like a helpful toaster. They reply with a link to Policy 6.3, which is my favorite bedtime story, and a calendar slot for a clarifying chat. I RSVP yes, set it to private, and name it Yoga. I forward a very neutral summary to a Switzerland-grade SVP, subject line, FYI for continuity. Inside, a tidy packet with my deck lineage, the watermark explanation, and a bland sentence worthy of corporate wallpaper, flagging authorship provenance to avoid cycle time risk. Translation: if credit goes weird, the schedule gets ugly. He replies with the Swiss equivalent of a nod. Appreciate diligence. Then I pull up the Git graph. My commit history looks like a skyline. Steady growth, occasional spikes, a blackout where I slept. I map early sketches to unit tests to the final safeguard toggles. I annotate in plain language that even an exec's dog could follow. Here's where churn predictions stabilized. Here's where pricing modes stop hallucinating. Here's the switch that saves us from being roasted in the meme channel. I export a PDF and a short video walkthrough for the learning averse. Coffee with the veteran architect is my sanity checkpoint. We meet in a corner that smells like stale ambition and lemon cleaner. He listens to my update and taps the table like a metronome. Good, but promise me, wait for them to ship the flaw. I hold up my hand like a Boy Scout of petty. Scout's honor. I even knit a sweater for the flaw. He squints. Don't get cute. I grin. I'm letting the bug do the punchline. To help the punchline land, I plant a decoy weakness more visible than the original. In the internal wiki page they're using for the demo, I add a section titled Known Limitations. Non-blocking will address post-demo. It's technically correct and ethically spicy. It nudges them to leave the safeguard out while letting me sleep at night. My therapist would be proud if I had one. Then I push my working prototype with the safeguard behind a feature flag only I can flip. I write a runbook that might as well be titled In Case of Hubris, Break Glass. It watches for jitter, detects price oscillations, and reroutes to the stable path in under a second. I leave breadcrumbs so ops can see exactly who saved what, when. Not for applause. Okay, maybe a little applause, but for truth. I brace for institutional resistance by rereading the policies like they owe me money. Policy 6.3 says inventors get recorded at the time of conception and materially contributing improvements get credit too. Policy 8.1 says misattribution is an ethics violation with bonus clawbacks. I highlight the juiciest lines and stick them in my pocket notes. If someone says family, I'm reading them bedtime clauses. Slack pings. HR scheduled my growth conversation. I bring my dossier like a picnic basket. They open with smile-practiced empathy. We've heard concerns about credit. We encourage collaborative framing. I nod. Great. Here's my collaborative frame. Who's the inventor? I show watermarks, logs, timestamp disclosure. They blink like their empathy needs a software update. We'll follow up. I smile. Wonderful. I'll send you the recording of this meeting for accuracy. They suddenly discover calendars. Legal tries, chain of command. Please route concerns through VP Dana. I say, absolutely. Here's an email where VP Dana routes the invention to counsel without. The inventor. Silence. Then, we'll convene. My favorite corporate verb means panic with minutes. Retaliation appendix. My performance review quietly shifts from exceeds to needs polish, and the promotion shortlist becomes a souvenir. I print the review, mark the date, and file it next to pumpkins. I do not flinch. I am a serene lake with sharks under it. Back at my desk, I share a brown bag session for engineers only. Practical safeguards for messy models. No fanfare. 10 people show, then 20. Then Maya drags in a chair with the energy of a firefighter at a candle store. I walk through the architecture, the fix, the philosophy. Documentation first, flags over forks, logs that tell the story without adjectives. I keep the jokes light and the code lighter. At the end, I drop a demo. Model jitters, safeguard catches, latency stays chill. The room hums a little. That hum is loyalty, and it's louder than claps. On my way out, the Switzerland SVP crosses my path and murmurs, "Good decks travel. Truth travels longer." That's corporate for "I saw your packet." I nod, nonchalant. Meanwhile, my inbox dings. Counsel confirms receipt of my disclosure, assigns a docket number, and asks for co-inventors you deem appropriate. I type one name, mine. Then, for improvements, I add 2 juniors who actually touched code, because fairness isn't a costume I put on for court. Final prep. I set a timed email switch. If I don't cancel by noon tomorrow, the compiled timeline pings compliance and a tiny list of adults, not a nuke. More like a flare gun with receipts. I tuck Tessa's spare key in an envelope labeled "Return," slide it in my drawer, and close it softly. When the door clicks, I can hear the demo clock ticking in the quiet like a metronome for justice. Try-fail cycle 1, HR and legal stonewall. HR invites me to a quick sync, which is HR for "we brought a smile and a shovel." I show up with my dossier and a face that says I floss with policy clauses. Kayla from HR greets me like a flight attendant during turbulence. "We've heard you're feeling undercredited." I say, "That's a soft way to describe a mugging." She smiles wider. "We frame credit collaboratively here." "Great," I say, laying out printouts like tarot cards. "Let's collaborate on who the inventor is." I walk them through the watermark, the export logs, the notary timestamp, the Invention disclosure, the Slack DMs where Liam says I'm not political, which is just adorable. Kayla nods like a bobblehead with empathetic eyebrows. We appreciate thoroughness. Our guidance is to focus on impact. My impact, I say, was inventing the thing. She taps her tablet, and the team is bringing that impact to market. I blink. So am I the ghost in this metaphor? She laughs softly. We avoid adversarial frames. I smile. I avoid theft. Her colleague coughs. We'll circle back. Legal is next. 2 counsels, 1 conference room that smells like paper cuts. Chain of command, they say, like it's a sacred spell. Concerns should route through VP Dana. I slide an email across the table. Here's VP Dana routing the invention to you without the inventor. They frown in unison, like synchronized swimmers of liability. We can't adjudicate authorship here. I nod. Cool. Policy 6.3 can. I read the clause like bedtime. Somebody's pen stops clicking. They pivot. Let's not escalate prematurely. I raise a finger. I already tried prematurely. It sent me to you. They exchange glances, then try a pacifier. We'll convene. I grin. Bring snacks. I leave both meetings feeling like a customer who asked for water and got handed a brochure about dehydration. By the time my badge hits my floor, workday pings. My review's been revised to needs polish. I didn't realize my ethics required a topcoat. The promo slate email arrives 5 minutes later, my name missing like a kidnapped vowel. I print both, underline the timestamps, and file them in pumpkins under Retaliation Exhibit Y. Maya appears with a bag of chips and the stare of a woman who has seen dashboards bleed. "They dinged you?" I show her the screen. She mutters a word HR would label unproductive. "You still good?" I nod. I'm a buoy. Push me down. I pop up annoying. At home, Tessa floats in on a cloud of productivity and $18 airport snacks. "How were your chats?" she asks, peeling off her blazer like a snake shedding ethics. "Enlightening," I say. HR suggested I focus on impact. She kisses my cheek. "That's good advice." I tilt my head. "Is it?" She pours a glass of something that says, "Notes of Oak in Denial." "You're getting in your head. Let Dana win the politics while you win the build." I breathe out. They try to erase me from the patent. She waves it off. Everyone embeds themselves in leadership's narrative. It's not theft. It's context. I stare. Context usually doesn't export my deck at 2:14 a.m. She sighs. "You always go forensic. It's exhausting." I smile. "Yeah, accuracy is a Heavy hobby. We go quiet. Her phone lights up. "You were extraordinary today, D." She flips it face down, too late. Director, she says quickly. Workshop feedback. I nod like a statue at a parade. Congrats on being extraordinary. She tries to soften. Don't make this a crusade. I take a sip. It's not a crusade. It's inventory. My phone buzzes with a calendar placeholder from the veteran architect. Walk. I meet him outside, night air doing its best impression of therapy. They sandbagged your review, he says. No preamble. Yep. He studies me. You angry? I shrug. I'm organized. He smiles at the sidewalk. Good. Anger burns hot and brief. Organization burns forever. We loop the block. He lays out a map. HR can delay, legal can deflect, but a demo outage can't be argued with. Your fix lands, your provenance lands harder, then you go up a level. I nod. COO in 48 hours. He raises a brow. You already booked it? I grin. I sent a teaser. He chuckles. You're dangerous when polite. Back at my desk, I draft a follow-up to HR and legal with bulletproof blandness. Thanks for the conversation. Attaching documentation for accuracy. Please confirm next steps and responsible owner. I copy nobody interesting. I BCC everyone who is. Then I set a reminder titled, if no acknowledgement by noon, flip the flare. Before bed, I check the email switch, still armed, humming like a kettle that only boils for nonsense. Tessa's asleep, breathing even. I lie there, counting the beats between rage and resolve. People think quiet means weak. Sometimes quiet means the trap is set and the cheese is free. Try fail cycle 2. Prototype, demo, precision trap. Demo day smells like burned coffee and optimism. I'm early because I like to hide traps in plain sight. My prototype with the safeguard hums in a staging box like a cat that knows it owns the couch. The feature flag sits under my cursor, labeled with the most boring name possible. Routing option B. B is for break glass. I run one more dry run. Jitter injection on. My safeguard catches the wobble, flattens the curve. Pricing stays sane. CPU hums at a polite 43%. Latency barely blinks. Maya watches, chewing a pin cap to dust. This is either going to save my weekend or ruin Dana's LinkedIn. I shrug. There's room for both. I keep the tone low-key on purpose. Brown bag vibes. Engineers, analysts, two curious sales folks who wandered in looking for free muffins. I demo the engine, mention the performance edge like it's a side salad. You'll notice we stabilized oscillations. I scroll past the meaty charts like I'm allergic to applause. A junior dev raises a hand. What if traffic spikes? I tap a graph. Then we auto-scale, and the safeguard reduces churn risk. Also, I pre-warmed caches because I'm a worrier. Maya leans in. You're underplaying this. I nod. Shh, let the villain monologue first. Across the building, Dana's team loads their deck with fonts that could blind a bat. Liam paces like a motivational speaker who lost his note cards. Their demo environment uses my model without the seatbelt I begged them for. They've taped a rocket to a shopping cart and are calling it disruption. 10 minutes to go. I slip into the back row of the executive conference room. COO at the head. Switzerland SVP 2 chairs down. CFO pretending to enjoy sparkling water. Dana opens with, we built a modular pricing engine that redefines lifetime value. Liam clicks, jaw tight, hair gel working overtime. I keep my face neutral, like I've never felt an emotion in my life. The first scenarios look fine, because life is cruel. Static inputs, low variance, the model purrs like it's on Xanax. Dana throws in a humble brag about roadmap discipline. Two execs nod, and I feel a brief urge to take up interpretive screaming. I breathe, wait for the turn. Let's hit dynamic surge, Liam says, clicking to the spicy scenario. It's the kind of traffic pattern that happens on a holiday weekend when everyone decides to buy a kayak at once. The line jumps, their price curve wobbles, then it wobbles more, then it does the Macarena. Maya texts me, your bug sweater is cute. On screen, average revenue per user spikes, then falls, then spikes again, like it's trying to send an SOS. Ops chat goes red, seeing oscillations. Cash misses climbing. Are we live? Someone whispers, oh no. The model overshoots, misprice is high, customers balk, then it overcorrects, discounts into oblivion. Congratulations, we invented a seesaw. CFO's eyebrow achieves orbit. COO leans forward. Dana stiff smiles. Early signal noise, she says. The room does not buy that brand of cereal. Liam clicks frantically, like a man trying to reboot a relationship. We'll reduce sensitivity, he says, twiddling knobs that only make it worse. The chart jitters like a squirrel on espresso. Twitter would be roasting us if this were public. Internally, the meme channel is warming up the grill. I inhale once, slow, and flip my feature flag. Routing option B on. My failover script reads jitter, catches the oscillation, and quietly reroutes traffic through the stabilized path. The graph, which had been doing interpretive dance, exhales into a line so smooth you could ice skate on it. Latency drops. Error rates settle. Revenue per user finds a comfy couch. Ops chat goes, stabilized? Stabilized. What changed? I type 3 words. Applied safeguard path. Maya adds, his patch saved live. Screenshots begin migrating toward the COO's tablet like birds headed south. Dana tries to keep narration rights. As you can see, we implemented our fallback strategy, she says, voice a little high. Switzerland SVP glances at his iPad. Says here the fallback was authored by. He trails off and looks at me. I lift 2 fingers in a small wave, the international sign for hello provenance. Liam swallows. We were going to add that next sprint. The COO's stare could chill soup. Why wasn't it in this sprint? Dana. We balanced speed and... The CFO taps the jitter chart and set money on fire? It comes out deadpan. A laugh escapes from somewhere near the window. Maya pings a public channel with the log snippet attributing the feature flag flip to my account. It's not petty, it's a public service. The channel reacts with the little siren emoji, then a waterfall of claps. Someone adds the raccoon gif. I feel seen. I keep it light. Happy to walk through the stabilization if useful, I say, casual like I'm offering gum. COO nods once. After, he turns to Dana. Reschedule external demo. Freeze changes until we complete a technical review. Dana smiles the way people smile when they taste unsalted oatmeal. Of course. The room exhales. The adrenaline leaves my limbs like it's clocking out. I don't gloat. I do, however, enjoy the exact moment the narrative tilts. It's audible, like a coin flipping and landing heads. Switzerland SVP says, "Who authored the safeguard?" Silence. I let it work. Then he reads the line. Attribution. My name. He looks up. Good work. Share your runbook with ops. By the time we file out, Slack looks like New Year's Eve. He just saved the release. Whose idea was the seatbelt? His. Liam sends me a DM. Nice catch. I reply, you're welcome. No emoji. Emojis are for friends. In the hallway, the architect sidles up, eyes smiling. You waited. I nod. Bug did the punchline. He chuckles. Exec curiosity? I tilt my head toward the COO's office. Doors cracked. He pats my shoulder. Wedge it open. Midpoint pivot. Executive sponsorship. The COO's assistant catches me in the hallway with the urgency of a person who schedules rocket launches. Got 5? She asks. Translation. You have exactly 5. I step into a conference room that smells like lemon wipes and quarterly regrets. The COO sits there, sleeves rolled, no slides, which is scarier than slides. Walk me through from 0, he says. No theatrics. Just a surgeon asking where to cut. I start simple. Problem. Dynamic pricing oscillates under surge. Solution. Safeguard dampens jitter using adaptive smoothing. Proof. Commits, tests, live, saved 15 minutes ago. I lay down my journal. Paper, because paper makes liars sweat. Open to sketches, notes, and dated gripes like, Liam wants sizzle, engine needs seatbelt. I hand him the deck lineage, point at the watermark explanation, then show the screen capture of Liam exporting my deck at 2:14 a.m. File name shouting final twice like a toddler. He reads faster than anyone I've met. And policy? He asks. I almost hug him. Policy 6.3. Inventors recorded at conception. Material contributors credited. 8.1. Misattribution risks clawbacks. Ethics review. I keep my tone museum guide calm. He nods once, calls up legal on speaker like he's ordering lunch. Freeze filings. I want a clean inventor determination, he says. Legal stammers, finds their brave voice, agrees. He ends the call before their punctuation lands. Who knows? He asks. Compliance doesn't yet, I say, but finance noticed budget drift. QA flag demo risk. Switzerland SVP has my provenance packet. Ops has the runbook and the log snippet tying stabilization to my account. He steeples fingers in that executive tai chi. Send me the full dossier in 48 hours. No noise. Absolute discretion. I nod. You'll have it in 24. He almost smiles. Good. And you'll brief me, not through Dana. A tiny musical crack appears in the ceiling called My Luck. He leans back. Why didn't you escalate earlier? I shrug. Because swinging early makes the room close ranks. And because I prefer receipts over speeches. He studies me like a rare bird that pays its bills on time. You're not political, he says. Procedural, I correct. And petty, but only in lowercase. He stands, which is my cue. One more thing, he says. If this shakes out the way it looks, we'll need interim leadership on the rebuild. I keep my face like a poker table, happy to stabilize. Also happy to write guardrails so we don't do this again. He nods. Good answer. Send me your guardrails. As I leave, my phone vibrates with the kind of notification that curdles coffee. Expense approval. Advisor travel. Austin. Approved. Vendor redacted. Itinerary matches the one Tessa texted me, right down to the cursed pretzel time. The universe hands out foreshadowing like mints. I put the phone face down. Focus. Career first, then laundry. Back at my desk, I start the dossier like it's a true crime podcast with fewer ads. Visual timeline, slide 1. Ideation dates, commit hashes, early tests. Slide 2, strategy sync excludes me. Slack DMs say keep him calm. Slide 3, 2:14 a.m., export with my watermark cameo. Slide 4, budget transfers, North Star acceleration, advisor fees kissing travel approvals. Slide 5, demo oscillations, ops chat, my feature flag, stabilized metrics. Slide 6, policies highlighted like scripture. Slide 7, retaliation timestamps, review downgrade, promo removal. I write captions without adjectives. The nouns do push-ups. Maya swings by, drops a gummy bear on my keyboard like a medal. COO grabbed you? I nod. 48 hours. She grins. Make it 20. The architect appears like I summoned him by thinking about sarcasm. How'd it go? He asks. He speaks policy, I say. He pats the air. Good. Now speak consequence. I add a quiet appendix. Credit norms proposal. Authorship registry at project kickoff. Demo days, where builders run the mic. Red team reviews that include juniors. A default rule? If you touch the idea, your name touches the slide. It reads less like vengeance and more like plumbing that doesn't flood. Tessa texts. Wheels down. Dana crushed it. Drinks? I stare at crushed for a long 3 seconds. I type, long day, rain check. She replies, don't be moody. I put the phone away like it's radioactive. I draft a note to myself. Do not litigate love while litigating patents. At 10 p.m., in the glow of monitor tans, I record a short voiceover walkthrough of the dossier for the COO. Simple, steady, 2 jokes to keep the blood sugar up. Here's where the model decided to cosplay as a yo-yo. Here's where we stop the yo-yo from unionizing. I end with requested outcomes, correct inventor record, ethics review on misattribution, budget audit, demo freeze, and permission to implement guardrails. I hit export, watch the progress bar crawl like a hungover snail, and send it with a subject line that would bore a poet. Dossier. Pricing engine provenance and stabilization. At midnight, the COO emails back. Received 8 a.m. tomorrow. I reply, confirmed. Then I sit in the quiet with my plant, who is frankly the best listener in this house, and say, we might actually pull this off. The plant is supportive. Morning arrives like a spreadsheet with perfect columns. I'm in the COO's office at 7:58, coffee in hand, heart doing jazz. He has my deck up already, which is either flattery or omen. He points at the retaliation slide. This will be addressed. He points at guardrails. Make these real. He points at the inventor slide, my name clean and lonely. You'll file the provisional with legal with this list. He pauses, studies me. You good? I nod. I'm chronologically patient. He smirks. Stay that way. Also, nice raccoon gif. I blink. He shrugs. I read Slack, pressure cooker, smear, and isolation. By noon the next day, the office rumor mill starts running like it's on performance enhancers. I walk into a meeting and someone's already sitting in my chair. Oh, we thought you couldn't make it, she says, eyes wide with faux innocence. Funny, because I never got an invite. My calendar, which is normally busier than a beehive with a Wi-Fi plan, looks like a Zen garden. Meetings vanish. Deliverables multiply like rabbits with clipboards. The whispers have subtitles. He's brilliant, but difficult. Not a team player. Goes straight to execs. Love that. I go straight to execs when the adults set the building on fire. Revolutionary concept. Using the fire alarm, Liam floats by my desk with the fake concern of a cat asking how the canary's doing. Hey, hearing some folks feel you're intense, he says, tone like he's offering constructive feedback on my breathing. I nod. I'll consider a rebrand. He brightens, relieved. Cool. I add, to correct and tired. He blinks like I delivered a math problem. Dana goes broad. She hits the skip level circuit with a polished story about single-threaded mindset and change resistance, which is like calling the seatbelt lobby anti-transportation. She phrases it as empathy. He's under a lot of pressure. She's right. It's currently shaped like her. Meanwhile, the work flood starts. I get 5-inch, quick asks with no specs and needed by EOD stapled on like a cry for help. I track them in a sheet titled Favor Economy. Requester. Ask.
if specs exist, if the ask is actually a disguised do my job, which it usually is. I start answering with a new template. Love it. Please confirm scope, owner, decision maker, and deadline. People reply, oh, never mind. The power of adult homework. My ally net tightens, quiet and sturdy. QA lead Maya does what QA does best. She logs facts like they're butterflies. Here's the ticket where we flag the safeguard omission. She CCs compliance on it with a shrug emoji, so dry it needs lotion. Finance friend sends me a spreadsheet annotated like the Dead Sea Scrolls. Transfers tied to Dana's unit. Approvals at 11:57 p.m. Advisor fees mapped to travel. She adds a footnote. Not an accusation, an observation with jazz hands. The veteran architect keeps me sane with haikus disguised as advice. When they smear, say less. Facts wear better than slogans. He also forwards me an old board deck with a highlighted clause about whistleblower protection. The highlight glows like a nightlight for grown-ups. I tuck it in my pocket like a rabbit's foot that can subpoena. Isolation games get petty. I'm removed from a Slack channel to reduce noise. A design review gets rescheduled to a time that overlaps with itself. Someone tries to add a doc lock on my runbook, presumably to trap me into a violation. My safeguards catch it, log the attempt, and politely revert permissions while sending me a digest. The digest reads like a gossip column. Anonymous edited your document and fell down a policy staircase. At lunch, I sit alone on purpose. It's not martyrdom, it's tactical. People reveal truths when they think you're radioactive. 2 data scientists sit behind me and debate whether I'm brilliant but brittle or just allergic to nonsense. One says, he helped my intern like 3 times, and I have to pretend my sparkling water isn't carbonated with emotion. HR pings with a check-in. Kayla smiles like she's selling smoothies. We're hearing noise around collaboration. I nod. Me too. Here's a funny collage. I slide over a 1-pager, a list of vanished invites, moved goalposts, and urgent asks with 0 owners. She squints. This looks systemic. I smile. That's my favorite adjective. The smear fails to stick because my receipts have better adhesive. Ops posts a shout-out. Stabilization doc saved our bacon. Support adds, customers didn't see the wobble thanks to the patch. A junior dev writes, he reviewed my PR at 10 p.m., didn't take credit, fixed my tests. These aren't defenses, they're footprints. The numbers become leverage. Finance compiles a
Short report. Budget transfers outside policy windows. Advisor fees with no STO. Travel tied to unnamed vendor. She watermarks it with compliance's favorite phrase, for internal review. I label the file with a lullaby title, Resource Alignment Notes, so nobody panics until it's time to panic. Tessa texts a selfie from a patio with an artisanal cocktail that looks like regret with garnish. You okay? Dana says folks are wary of your vibe. I type, my vibe is arithmetic, then delete it. I send, busy. She replies, don't sabotage your growth. I put the phone down before I send a PDF. By day's end, I'm tired, but not torn. Isolation is loud. Allies are quiet. Data is patient. I print the finance summary, the QA flag, the ops shoutout, and my favor economy log. I arrange them on my desk like tarot and hear the architect in my head. Press play on the evidence. I check the timed email switch. Tomorrow's mid-quarter review is the moment. My finger hovers. Then I smile. The smear campaign taught me one thing. If you can't join their meetings, make them join yours. Plan locked. Compliance, board, and the email switch. I spend the morning turning chaos into a museum exhibit. Exhibit A is a visual timeline that could babysit an executive's attention span. Left to right, ideation dates, commit hashes, first demo to Liam, strategy sync that forgot to sync me, Slack DM saying, keep him calm, 2:14 a.m. export, the watermark cameo waving like a tiny lifeguard, budget transfers to North Star acceleration, advisor fees with jazz hands, demo oscillations, my feature flag save, ops shoutout, retaliation timestamps. Each tile has a caption written in the emotional register of a tax audit. It's art for people who clap for compliance. Next, I compose the anonymous packet for compliance. Not anonymous. I want traceability without theatrics. The platform has a whistleblower portal that's the UI equivalent of beige carpet. I upload the timeline, the finance summary, the QA flag, the ops attribution, and policy highlights that read like bedtime stories for adults who fear audits. I write the note like a weather report. Observed misattribution of invention, policy 6.3 risk. Potential ethics breach per 8.1. Budget transfers outside window. Advisor travel lacking SOL.
Operational incident linked to omission. Remediation documented. Then I click submit. The portal thanks me like a toaster. For the board tech committee, I go formal and short because board members read with a sword. I prep a packet under the policy that allows direct communication for material technical risk. Subject line: QBR addendum, pricing engine stability and provenance. Inside, 3 slides and a 90-second video. Slide 1, stabilization impact, revenue preserved, incidents avoided. Slide 2, provenance, commit lineage, watermark, export log. Slide 3, policy exposure, misattribution, ethics, budget governance. The video's my voice being calm while graphs do the drama. I attach a 1-pager labeled recommendations so nobody has to guess what grown-ups should do. Now the fun part, staging the send. The mid-quarter business review starts at 2 p.m. My email switch is timed to fire at 2:03, right after Dana's first victory lap and before the CFO's second eyebrow ascends. I write 3 messages, 1 to execs, compliance, and the board alias, 1 to ops and QA with the runbook and post-mortem notes, 1 to legal with the invention disclosure docket and the inventor list. The subject lines are arid: stabilization record, provenance material, policy items requiring decision. I set them to delayed send, my finger hovering over cancel like a man considering mercy. Final proof goes in last, a screen recording of Liam exporting my deck at 2:14 a.m. I narrate a single line over it. File, Dana, Vision, Final, by PDF exported by Liam, P at 2:14. Watermark variant 7 confirms source. I add the Slack snippet, keep him calm, the budget ledger excerpt, and the ops log where my account flips the flag. It's the cinematic universe of receipts, but the tone is DMV. I loop Switzerland SVP with an innocuous FYI so he isn't surprised and doesn't have to fake surprise. He replies with a single dot, which in exec Morse code means proceed. I brought snacks. I take a breath and write one tiny ridiculous thing, my emotional prep. I draft the breakup text to Tessa again, then move it into the vault like a squirrel burying a nut labeled not now. I slide her spare key into the envelope marked return and put it in my bag so I don't have to go home for the prop later. It's not theater, it's logistics for grief. The architect swings by, eyebrows curious. You look like a man who has set 3 mousetraps and is now reading a book. I nod. The book is called Policy, and it's a thriller. He smirks. You ready for blowback? I shrug. I brought a fan. At 1:58, the room fills with the smell of optimism and cold brew. Dana opens with cadence and vowels that have been to media.
Training. Our innovation, she says. Liam advances slides like his pointer finger negotiated equity. The COO watches without blinking. CFO's eyebrow is in the hangar. I glance at my watch. 2:02. My heart taps out a calendar reminder. 2:03 arrives like a bus. The first email fires. Execs, compliance, board alias. A second later, ops MedQA get the runbook, legal gets the docket, and the board's portal pings with my 3 slides and the video. It is a polite avalanche. Phones light up. The COO's tablet vibrates, then the CFO's, then Switzerland SVP's. Dana keeps talking because momentum is a narcotic. The COO raises a hand. Silence lands like a dropped piano. He taps the video. My voice fills the room describing jitter, the safeguard, the live save. The ops log appears with my username glowing like a modest porch light. Then the finance slide, transfers, advisor fees, timestamps. The budget screams in Helvetica. The board alias replies, all with a neutral ask for clarification, which is board for speak carefully. Legal replies, noted. Provisional filings frozen pending inventor verification. The room temperature drops. Liam's gel loses confidence. Dana tries a pivot. We were shepherding cross-functional excellence. The CFO cuts in, dry as a saltine. Who authorized advisor travel? The question sits down and buckles its seatbelt. I keep my face like wallpaper. My phone buzzes in my pocket with a compliance ticket number. Maya texts me a single raccoon emoji and a fire extinguisher. The architect from across the room writes 2 words on his notepad and tilts it toward me. Nice timing. Public reckoning. Click send. The COO clears his throat, which in executive means no one breathe wrong. Dana smiles like a cruise director steering straight into an iceberg. I check my watch. The delayed sends already flew, but the real button, the one in my head, still needs pressing. I open my mouth and say, calm as a librarian. If it helps, I can walk through the live stabilization. Tiny sentence. Huge oxygen shift. The COO nods. Do that. I stand, take the clicker from Liam like it's a community fork, and back up the video to the wobble. Here's the jitter event, I say, tapping the spike. Here's where the model tries to moonwalk off a cliff. I flip the flag to route through the safeguard path I authored. Latency dropped, revenue stabilized, ops breathed again. I keep it clean, no adjectives. The chart does stand up. CFO leans in. Why wasn't this safeguard default?
Liam inhales like he's about to invent time travel. Dana cuts him off. We were balancing speed and learnings. CFO tilts his head. And torching money was part of the curriculum? Somewhere. A slide chokes. Switzerland SVP, who I suspect sleeps in bullet points, taps his tablet. Attribution logs show the stabilization action tied to our friend here, he says, nodding at me. Legal has frozen filings. Compliance is engaged. Then he looks directly at Dana. Your comment? Dana smiles the smile of someone allergic to gravity. We had inventor coverage under product. Execution came from engineering. I flipped to a slide I didn't advertise. Watermark variant 7, faint but waving like a shy toddler. This is in the deck you circulated, I say. It's a forensic tag, sourceable to my original file. Exported at 2:14 a.m. from Liam's laptop. File name Dana Vision of Final. Liam's ears try to leave his head. The COO's voice goes low. Confirm. Legal, already typing like their keyboard owes rent, says, confirmed. The board alias pings, noted. It's like getting a text from God that just says seen. Then Finance's report pops up because the CFO shared it. Bless their salty soul. Transfers outside windows. Advisor fees without so. Matching travel. Column headers that could testify. The COO turns to Dana. Did you approve these? Dana breathes through her teeth. Within my discretionary authority. CFO lifts one eyebrow. Not discretionary when it hits my ledger like a drum solo. Liam folds first. It's always the gel. His voice cracks. Look, Dana said we needed momentum. She said attribution is narrative, and narrative is leadership. He glances at me. I asked him for notes. The room waits. I let the silence marinate until it has grill marks. Then I say, you asked for my notes. Then you exported my deck. Then you removed the safeguard. Then I saved you from yourself. Compliance dings me with a message I'm not supposed to read in real time. I read it anyway. Thank you for your submission. Assigned investigator, R. Malik. ETA, immediate interviews. Immediate. That's corporate for get popcorn. Dana tries a new tone, contrite-ish. If I missed an attribution step, we can fix the paperwork. The COO actually laughs, short and mean. This isn't a paperwork problem. This is an integrity problem wearing a paperwork hat. He turns to legal. Suspend VP Dana pending review. Remove product line authority. Network access to read only. Liam, same. Legal nods like.
An air traffic controller landing a scandal. Liam goes pale. I was following direction. Switzerland SVP cuts in. So was the Titanic. Ops pings the channel again with my runbook link. Someone adds a goat emoji, and I pray they mean greatest of all time and not farm animal. Dana reaches for dignity and grabs dust. With respect, this is overblown. We shipped value. I gesture at the wobble chart. We shipped a seesaw. I added the ground. The COO raises a hand. Enough. Reset the narrative. From now on, provenance is part of the status, not an apology. He looks at me. You'll lead the technical clean room and the stabilization plan, directly to me. That sentence lands in my chest like a well-behaved meteor. I nod once. Understood. I'll publish Guardrails by EOD. I don't fist pump. I think about it very loudly. Compliance enters the room as three people with clipboards and calm faces. The lead smiles the way dentists smile before they count your molars. We'll need 10 minutes with each of you, she says. Dana stands, steel in her posture. I'll call my attorney. Compliance's smile does not change. You may do that. We'll call your badge. Liam tries for a handshake. No hard feelings? I tilt my head. I'm fresh out. He nods like he deserves that. As they shuffle to the glass boxes of truth, the architect materializes, somehow both invisible and everywhere. He whispers, "The wave broke." I whisper back, "Now we mop." I step into the hall and record a quick loom for the engineering org. Short, dry, kind. We experienced oscillations. We stabilized using the safeguard path. We're establishing a clean room to rebuild with guardrails. If you shipped code, you'll be credited. If you flagged risks, you'll be heard. If you have questions, my door's fake open, but actually open. I add one joke about the raccoon gif, because morale eats rumor for breakfast. My phone buzzes. Tessa, saw the shakeup. Are you okay? I type. I will be. She replies. Dana's a force. Don't make enemies. I stare at that for a beat too long. I put the phone away like it's a hot potato with feelings. Back in the room, the COO signs the words no one forgets. Effective immediately, Dana is suspended pending review. Liam is terminated for cause. Legal reads from a template that probably has a nickname. The air thins. Switzerland SVP turns to me. Draft your plan. You present at 9 a.m. tomorrow. CFO adds, and put the cost of that oscillation in slide 2. Petty math, my favorite sport. As we disperse, Maya passes by and whispers, "You just speed ran a corporate ethics course." I grin and unlock the documentation fetishist achievement.
she snorts. Don't put that on LinkedIn. I head to my desk, open a fresh doc titled Clean Room Charter, and start typing rules like they're recipes. Authorship registry at kickoff. Demo days with builders on mic. Red team reviews that ask rude questions. Permissioning that doesn't rely on vibes. And a final line. We don't confuse proximity with contribution. I hit send on the draft guardrails to the COO and Switzerland SVP. Subject, boring title, important content. Then I close my laptop, exhale for the first time in a week, and say out loud, to my plant and the indifferent ceiling, we clicked send.
Fallout Wave 1. Truth, mess, clean rooms. The morning after feels like the building took a long shower and left its sins in the drain. Forensics rolls in with rolling Pelican cases and faces that say, we back up our toothbrushes. They mirror devices with the tenderness of jewel thieves, except they're legal, which makes it scarier. Dana's unit gets their access clipped to read only. You've never seen slack jaws until you've watched product managers discover they can't edit a Google Doc. A hush spreads like someone pressed mute on hubris. HR sits me down for your statement, which sounds like a duet but is actually a solo. I keep it clinical and diet bland. Dates, deck names, watermark variants, export times. No poetry, no villains, no adjectives that could get subpoenaed. Kayla clicks her pen once, twice, then stops like the pen realized it's on record. Anything else you want to add? She asks. Yes, I say. Please ensure the juniors who contributed get inventor credit for their pieces. She blinks like I handed her a puppy. Noted. My phone buzzes so hard it tries to jog. Tessa, 12 messages ranging from we need to talk to this is being blown out of proportion to I'm sorry, I didn't understand. I leave them on read like they're a museum exhibit. I'm not a monster. I'm a man on a schedule. I text one sentence. I'll meet you Sunday at 2, public place. She replies in under a second. Okay. My thumb hovers over the typing bar, then retreats like a sensible turtle. An internal memo hits all hands with the bureaucratic poetry of a weather alert. Subject, pricing engine stabilization and process updates. In the second paragraph, a sentence I read 3 times just to make sure it doesn't vanish. Interim credit and inventor designation for the safeguard and core architecture are assigned to my name, pending final legal record. Somebody in comms risked a haircut for that line. I want to buy them a sandwich. We spin up a clean room in a vacant project space that used to be a meditation nook, which explains the faint scent of eucalyptus and denial. I put a big sign on the door, bring facts, leave vibes. The team splits, rebuild squad here with ops and QA, remediation squad over there with support and data. Maya claims a whiteboard like a pirate claims an island and starts drawing a flow that looks like IKEA instructions for integrity. Someone brings a box of cables, someone else brings donuts, and suddenly we're a pop-up ethics shop. I kick off with the tone of a kindergarten teacher who moonlights as a bouncer. Authorship registry starts now. If your code or thinking touches a feature, write your name in the box. If you're not sure, put your name in the margins. Credit is a surplus commodity. Karthik raises a hand. What about people who tested edge cases? I grin. We spell inventor in lowercase. If you saved us with a weird thought, your name goes on the slide. Ops posts the incident timeline, color-coded like a pride parade for accountability. The wobble is orange. The save is green. The aftermath is a tasteful gray. Support chimes in with 3 tickets from big customers who noticed unexpected price vibes, which is now our official term for oh no. Finance, never to be outdone, sends a bullet list of budget hygiene fixes that reads like a sober person at a karaoke bar. We cut a branch and start rebuilding the sensitive bits with pair programming like it's a trust fall. I rotate partners so nobody becomes a gatekeeper and everybody becomes a gossip sink. We narrate decisions out loud. I'm choosing a higher smoothing factor because Friday made me feel emotions. I'm writing tests before coffee because I believe in miracles. The room warms up with the steady heat of people doing right on purpose. Forensics drops by with a quick update delivered in monotone jazz. We've captured device images, recovered Slack DMs, and corroborated after-hours activity. Translation. The receipts have cousins. They ask for my original notebook. I hand it over, already scanned and notarized because I'm that kind of romantic. The lead glances at my tidy tabs and says, "You're our favorite kind of problem." I curtsy, internally. By afternoon, legal confirms the provisional filing went in with my name first and 2 juniors listed for their contributions. It's provisional, not the parade, but it's the marching band tuning up. I ping the juniors. Check your email, you're inventors. Karthik responds with 30 exclamation points and, "My mom's gonna frame this." My heart does a push-up. The mess isn't just code, it's feelings leaking out of people who were told family while being charged as contractors. I run a micro-retro called Lie We Believed. Stickies bloom. Leadership will protect you if you ship. Credit is tacky. Process slows heroes.
We laugh, a little bitter, a little free. Then we write the counterspells. Document first, then ship. Credit fuels trust. Process catches villains.
Switzerland SVP drops in, leaves without a speech, but sends an email 5 minutes later. Clean room cadence is strong. Continue. Publish your Guardrails org-wide by Friday. COOO replies all with a single word. Seconded. At 6 p.m., the room is a forest of empty coffee cups and solved problems. We run the new path against ugly data that looks like a heart monitor in a roller coaster. The curve holds. Latency yawns. Ops says, if this were public, we'd sleep tonight. Maya deadpans. We don't sleep, but I like your vision. On my way out, I pass Dana's old corner office. It's dark. Plants drooping like they missed the memo. I resist the urge to water them. Boundaries. The elevator doors close. In the stainless steel reflection, I look like a guy who cleaned a crime scene with bullet points. Back at my desk, I hit publish on the clean room charter and the Guardrails. Subject: boring title, important content, part 2. Then I send one last message to the org. If you did work that got erased, my door is open. We're reprinting names. Fallout Wave 2. Personal closure, professional ascension. Sunday at 2, I pick the kind of cafe where breakups come with latte art. Tessa's already there, posture perfect, eyes doing calculus. I sit. Silence pulls up a chair. She starts. I'm sorry. It's the kind of sorry that wants to negotiate with gravity. I nod. I cataloged. I didn't confront. Now I'm confronting. She exhales. I got pulled in. Dana offered influence, and I liked how it felt. I told myself I was helping you get seen. She stares at her hands. Ambition overran judgment. I sip water like it has legal counsel. I don't need an autopsy. I need a finish line. I slide the small envelope across the table. The spare key she left, now labeled return in my tidy handwriting. We're done. She flinches, then steadies. Do you hate me? I shake my head. I'm allergic to hate. It makes me puffy. I just can't live where receipts sleep between us. She almost smiles. You always were too principled. I grin, soft. And you always were too networked. She nods, accepts it, and for a second, I remember why we liked each other. We were both fluent in goals. We stand, no scene. Two adults doing emotional taxes. Outside, she says, you're going to be huge. I shrug. I'm going to be useful. Monday arrives dressed like a promotion rumor. The company-wide email hits with all the drama of a seatbelt sign. Organizational update. Paragraph 2. VP Dana has resigned to pursue opportunities. The phrase, pursue opportunities, does a lot of cardio. The reactions range from, oh no, to, oh, yeah. PR drops a LinkedIn post with a stock sunrise and a quote about growth. The comments are emojis pretending to be diplomacy. 5 minutes later, Liam's exit is official, terminated for cause. It escorts him out with the tenderness of a moving company for bad decisions. He doesn't look at me. I don't look at him. It's not victory. It's physics. The COO pings me with a 2-line DM that somehow weighs 1,000 pounds. Acting director, pricing architecture. We need you steady and boring. I write back, I was born beige. He responds with a smiley that looks like a quarterly forecast. We meet in his office, where Oxygen has to RSVP. He lays out the plan. I take the wheel of the rebuild and the governance. Switzerland SVP shadows the business side. Finance locks down budget hygiene like it's a new religion. Guardrails are your first 90 days, he says. Ship nothing without credit logs. Demo nothing without a builder at the mic. Every deck gets an authorship slide. I nod. Done. Also, I want a rotating credit council. 3 juniors, 2 seniors, 1 outsider. He grins. Look at you, unionizing fairness. I ask for one more thing. A carve-out in policy for material narrative contribution. The people who frame problems so the solution gets born. He tilts his head. You're trying to pay poets. I shrug. Some of our best architects don't write code. They write questions. He taps his desk. Drafted. The clean room hums like a machine that eats cynicism and prints receipts. I hold a short stand-up where I sound like a kindergarten teacher with a clipboard. Your work will have names. Your names will have work. If you forget, I'll remember for you. Karthik beams. Maya mutters, I'm putting that on a mug. We institute demo days, not the executive theater kind, real ones with scratches. Junior analysts present experiments that failed adorably. We clap for the failure, not because we're cute, but because we like truth more than PowerPoint calories. I take the back row and talk less. If I'm on stage, I'm accountable. If they're on stage, we're a company. The board sends a quiet note, acting removed. Just like that, permanence. No parade, no confetti.
I prefer it this way. Loud winds attract pigeons. I call my mom. She answers on the second ring, already suspicious. Are you eating? She asks. Also, why does my pharmacy app say paid?
Early? I smile. Because your son's job got bigger. She goes very quiet, then says, good. Now buy a couch that isn't a rectangle of sadness. I promise nothing and everything. I signed the new comp plan with a clause I wrote myself. Bonus distribution tied to documented authorship. Finance loves it because spreadsheets. Legal loves it because precedent. Engineers love it because justice with footnotes. I hang a small whiteboard by my door titled Owed Credit. People add names next to features. Watching a junior write their name without shaking is my new sport. In a meeting with the COO, he asks, you happy? I think about Sunday, the envelope, the clean room, the plant I didn't water in Dana's office. I'm balanced. He nods. We can work with balanced. I look around my new floor-to-ceiling windows that are really just mirrors for responsibility, and I repeat my new rule to myself. What I build next matters more than the win. So I build something boring and beautiful, a process that remembers. Resolution. Rebuild with rules that hold. First day, as the guy with the clipboard, I inaugurate the authorship registry with the pomp of a sticky note. I slap a laminated sheet on the wall titled, Who Built This? Really? And hand out dry erase markers like merit badges. If your fingerprints are on a feature, write your name. If your fingerprints are on the person who built the feature, don't. This is HR safe. People laugh, then they write. Watching names appear is like watering plants and hearing them say thanks. Demo days are no longer a theater performance with jazz hands and a soundtrack by corporate. We move them to the cafeteria, terrible acoustics and all, and put builders at the mic. First presenter is Jess, an intern with a hoodie that says absolutely not to imposter syndrome. She demos a failure so glorious it deserves a museum wing. My script reduced noise by deleting all the data. The room laughs, I clap, and I say, we will never do that again, unless it's funny. Jess writes her name on the board under learned something, and the marker squeaks like it's proud. Next up, Ops walks us through a new alert that doesn't scream at 3 a.m. unless something is actually on fire. We call it the Stop Waking Maya rule. The dashboard runs on colors normal humans understand. Green for fine, yellow for maybe stretch, orange for get coffee, red for bring 2 coffees and a manager. Maya nods, almost smiles, then writes, Maya next to the alert algorithm like she's signing a treaty. Red team reviews get spicy. I appoint 3 juniors as official chaos gremlins. Their job is to ask rude questions politely. What would a villain do with this endpoint? What's the ugliest customer behavior we refuse to imagine? If marketing gets hold of this, how does it die? We rotate the gremlins so nobody becomes jaded. Jaded gremlins are just middle managers with better hair. The first session triggers 5 fixes, 3 epiphanies, and 1 existential sigh. We rebuild the platform with flags over forks. I ban stealth branches like I'm TSA for Git. Feature flags come with owner names and a purpose statement. What is this and why does it exist? Required field. If you write vibes, the system replies, try again, poet. We wire logs to tell the story without adjectives. Who toggled what, when, and what it did to the world. The log lines read like polite gossip. Jess enabled smoothing verse 3, churn settled, CPU asked for a nap. I write a little ceremony into our stand-ups called credit callouts. 60 seconds, no grandstanding. Say a name and the thing they did. It's adult show and tell, just less glue eating. Karthik caught a silent overflow. Alicia rewrote the test harness so it doesn't cry. Ops saved us from a page storm. If you hate feelings, good news, it only takes a minute. If you like justice, it lasts all day. We retrofit the patent pipeline with guardrails so sharp you could slice bagels on them. Inventor designation happens at project kickoff, not at who remembers later. Legal attends demos as humans, not ghosts. We make a form that asks, who had the idea? Then who made it not terrible? And crucially, who argued with it until it became good? Because invention is equal parts spark and grudge match. Finance joins the rebuild like a sober chaperone at a prom. The CFO sends a thumbs up that somehow smells like spreadsheets and basil. Support gets a seat at the product table permanently. We embed a support lead in roadmap planning and give them a red pen the size of a canoe. First meeting, they cross out half a slide and write, customers will call us crying. Everyone laughs, then everyone stops laughing because we've all been there. I set up a tiny committee called Names on Slides. It's 3 juniors, a rotating senior, and 1 person from outside engineering who thinks engineers are adorable but dangerous. Their job?
Vet the authorship slide on every deck. If your name isn't there and should be, you can appeal like you're trying to get into an exclusive nightclub called Credit. They meet Fridays at 4 with donuts and a rubber stamp that says, "Nope, try again." 2 weeks in, the platform stops doing jazz hands. It hums. Our revenue line looks like a grown-up. The jitter graph flatlines in a way that makes actuaries wink. We run a stress test that used to make servers whimper. This time they yawn. Ops posts a chart titled "Boring is Beautiful." We all heart it, even the chaos gremlins. I start a series for new hires called Politics Without Poison. It's a brown bag lunch where I explain how to disagree without making it into a Netflix true crime documentary. Use nouns, use dates, be generous with credit and greedy with receipts. We practice saying, "I might be wrong," and the ceiling does not fall. We practice saying, "You're right," and nobody dies. We move the authorship registry from the wall to a tiny internal tool that looks like a deli counter for contributions. Pick a project, see the names, see the commits, hear the tiny chorus of thank yous if you squint your ears. HR sends me a heart emoji and a legal clause, which is how I know we've hit a sweet spot, kindness with paperwork. One afternoon, a junior PM knocks on my door and says, "Hey, I noticed my name isn't on slide 3, and I wrote the problem statement that turned the corner." I grin. "You just invented material narrative contribution." We add her name. We add the rule. Nobody dies. The feature gets better. The board emails quietly. Role made permanent. No exclamation points. Just my name where acting used to live, like a painting was straightened. I close the laptop and look at my new apartment, which has fewer ghosts and one thriving plant with leaves the size of optimism. I water it and realize it's not dying because I finally stopped throwing it into rooms that eat light. Revenue ticks up, not like fireworks, like rent money paid early. Finance sends a chart with a small smiley face in the corner, which is their version of a marching band. Ops sleeps, which is their love language. Juniors ask efficient questions. Slides have more names and fewer superlatives. The system remembers who did what, and nobody has to keep a petty scrapbook the size of a legal case. On my walk home, I catch my reflection in a window and see a man who built a process that holds. Not flashy, not viral, just sturdy. Enough to stand on, enough to stand for. I laugh to myself because, of course, the punchline to a year of chaos is a checklist labeled "Don't be weird about credit." And then I go upstairs to a clean desk, a clean conscience, and a plant that finally trusts me.
Epilogue, Beat, Patent Hearing and Legacy. Patent Hearing Day arrives dressed like jury duty for nerds. I wear the suit that makes me look like a responsible spreadsheet and bring a binder that could stop a small bullet. Counsel meets me in the lobby with a nod that says, "Be boring but decisive." Perfect. That's my bird song. We sit at a varnished table under lights bright enough to interrogate tomatoes. Opposing counsel is the exact shade of gray that bills by the hour. The examiner is efficient, the kind of person who alphabetizes their cereal. "We'll focus on priority date and inventorship," she says, crisp as a stapler. Our counsel starts like a bedtime story for accountants. Timeline of conception, journal entries, dated sketches, git commits, material contributions, juniors A and B on safeguards refinements. He slides in the notarized timestamps, the watermark variants like little invisible ink fist bumps, the export log at 2:14 a.m., the world's most incriminating screensaver. He doesn't use adjectives. He doesn't need to. The exhibits do CrossFit. Opposing counsel leans forward with a smile that wants to sell me amnesia. "Isn't it true this was a collaborative environment? Ideas flowed." I nod. "We're a company, not a cave. But ideas have parents." She pivots. "And attribution can be subjective." I tap the page. "This one isn't." I lay down the decoy metric, the safeguard discussion thread where I wrote, "Seatbelt first or we become a meme." The ops log tying the lives saved to my account. The Invention disclosure docket filed before the world woke up. Subjective is when you argue about blue versus teal. This is VIN numbers and engine blocks. She tries a romance novel angle. Weren't there strategy meetings where leadership framed the vision? I shrug. They framed a lot. None of those frames contain this math. Counsel slides the adaptive smoothing notes. My hand scribbled derivation like a love letter to not crashing. The examiner tilts her head. "And the juniors?" I grin. "They touched code and shaped behavior. They're listed as co-inventors on the improvements. We do lowercase inventor for lowercase heroes." Opposing counsel changes tactics. We've heard allegations of animus. The examiner's eyebrow does the tiniest push-up. I keep my voice oatmeal. If Animus wrote the runbook and stabilized revenue, we should give Animus stock options. The room almost laughs. The examiner doesn't. She's a professional.
We walk through provenance like a museum tour where the art steals back your wallet. Commit lineage, check. Notebook scans, check. Third-party hashes, check. The examiner stops me at the watermark detail. Variant 7? I nod. I rotate subtle tags for deck diffusion. 7 showed up in the exported file named vFinal. Opposing counsel winces at the file name like it personally offended her bar association. She tries one last time. Isn't it possible your client overstates his role? Counsel slides the clean room charter, the guardrails, the authorship registry, and the provisional that already carries my name first with 2 juniors next. If he wanted to overstate, he picked a weird way to distribute credit like Halloween candy. I add, I like candy. The examiner asks for 5 minutes and walks out with our stack like she's taking it to prom. I stare at the water pitcher and practice not saying something smug to the condensation. Counsel whispers, breathe. I whisper back, invention, inhale receipts, exhale patience. She returns with a folder and a face that could sell aspirin. Decision, priority date stands as submitted. Inventorship recorded as proposed. My name, with co-inventors, junior names, on claims pertaining to safeguard refinements. Any assignment to the company honored per agreement. My spine unclenches so hard it makes a tiny noise. Opposing counsel nods at no one and scribbles a memo to future disappointment. Outside, sunlight does a victory lap. Counsel squeezes my shoulder. Cleanest case I've seen in a while, I say. I'm a hobbyist archivist. We head to legal, where I sign the assignment back to the company. My name first, like a small flag on a tidy hill. I initial a clause about royalty sharing that'll buy the juniors nicer keyboards. Paperwork has never felt so much like a parade. Back at the office, I send one email I've been drafting in my head for a month. Subject, credits, because names matter. Body, inventors recorded as me, Junior A, Junior B. Ops, credited for live stabilization support. QA credited for early flag. Finance credited for policy guardrails. If your fingerprints are here and not listed, come see me. We'll correct the record.
ICC the org. IBCC my better angels. Responses roll in like tiny fireworks. Karthik forwards the notice to his mom with 3 heart emojis and 1 goat. Maya replies with, finally, now can we never do oscillations again? I answer, deal. Switzerland SVP writes, this sets a precedent. The COO just sends a period. In executive, that's a hug with paperwork. I walk past the wall where we used to pretend to meditate and stop at the new authorship kiosk, the deli counter for contributions. There are fresh names pinned under features like bright receipts. A junior PM taps her name under material narrative contribution, grinning like she just got away with something polite. I high-five her because I'm culturally agile like that. That night, in my apartment that smells like courage and eucalyptus cleaner, I open a fresh doc titled Legacy that isn't cringe. I jot 3 lines. Names stay, guardrails scale, jokes optional. I close it before it becomes a manifesto. On my way to bed, I water the plant that has chosen life. It rustles like a tiny applause. I raise my glass of boring water. To invention with witnesses. The plant does not object. The door to my new office closes, the patent notice sits on my desk with my name at the top, and the room finally feels honest. If stories where receipts flip power make your day, subscribe and watch the next episode, where a fake ally volunteers for his own audit. Hit the playlist, bring snacks, and stay for the twist.